You're listening to the No Bullshit Vegan Podcast, episode 226. Andrea, Bennett, and I discuss why fitness is inherently political, how movement and health should go far beyond aesthetics, using strength goals as empowerment and representation, and much more.
Welcome to the No Bullshit Vegan Podcast. Myth-busting and evidence-based advice to help you kick butt with your health and fitness on a vegan diet. Here's your host, Karina Inkster.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Karina, your go-to no BS vegan fitness and nutrition coach. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're ready to cut through all the noise and work with a team that values evidence over hype, sustainability over extremes, and strength over punishment, my fitness and nutrition coaching team would love to help. We offer personalized vegan fitness and nutrition coaching for real humans with real lives, whether your goal is building muscle, improving your health, feeling more confident in the gym, vegan world domination, maybe a little bit of all of those things. Learn more and apply at karinainkster.com/coaching. That's karinainkster.com/coaching. Andrea Bennett is a senior editor at the Tyee and the author of several books, including Hearty on cooking, eating, and growing food for pleasure and subsistence, which won a Taste Canada Gold Award. Their favorite vegan meal is bean tacos with guac and pico de gallo. Fun fact, we co-direct the Cathet Open Water Swim Club together here on the Upper Sunshine Coast of BC, which is an inclusive, non-competitive group for folks who love distance swimming in lakes and oceans. Here's our conversation. Just for listeners, as a background, we know each other IRL.
We do, yeah. We swim together.
We sure do, all the time. I can't remember. I never remember how long it's been. Was it 2020 that we started swimming together?
Yeah, it was either 2020 or 2021. I'm pretty sure it was 2020, but
yeah,
it's lost to the sands of time.
I know, exactly. So we run an open water swim club in the Cathet region, and Andrea is currently training for a 10K swim, which is a marathon. Holy shit. Impressive. And I've signed up to be their paddler.
Yes.
So I get to paddle 10K.
Nice. Yeah, that in itself is sort of a lot. It's a long way to paddle.
It's nothing compared to swimming 10K, though.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway, so we decided to do a podcast episode, well, for many reasons, but one was because of a piece that you wrote recently for the Tyee, which is called Gym Culture Has Always Been Political. Mm-hmm. And then the kind of subtitle tagline thing is, and MAHA has been taking over, but progressives can push back.
Yeah.
So I had all sorts of thoughts about this because, as people have heard on the podcast, I did a whole episode about how fitness is inherently political and how I got a comment one time, actually a review of my podcast that was like, I'm not here for the politics. You have to take social commentary out of your show. And I'm like, screw that. Anyways, tell our listeners a little bit about this general approach in your essay, and we're going to link to it in our show notes.
I was circling around these ideas for a long time, but I was reflecting on particularly because I've been on this pull-up journey for quite some time. I finally got my first chin-up in December after 10 months.
Woohoo.
And I can't remember the timing of it, but Pete Hegseth and RFK Jr. put out a challenge, a pull-up and push-up challenge, and they issued it to sort of the military and Americans more broadly. Do as many pull-ups and push-ups as you can in 50 of each in a particular time frame. Mm-hmm. And honestly, both of them had terrible form. They were supposed to do 50, which is a lot. It's a lot. And pretty soon their form was god awful for both of them anyway. It was it became an internet meme. But the other thing that they were saying in that challenge, and it's just reflected through MAHA, or Make America Healthy Again, is a real interesting approach to what constitutes health and what constitutes wellness and what it means to pursue health or wellness. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of masculinity rolled up in that for them. A lot of anti-fatness, just very inherent, it specifically comes up. And then it's pretty ableist. It's a pretty ableist approach. And you see that throughout RFK Jr.'s work. It's sort of pretty anti-public health, anti-structural changes, very focused on personal choices, and very biased towards whiteness and masculinity, and just echoing a lot of the stuff that I feel like public health has done a lot to dismantle and change over the years. And now we're just back. I don't know. I like in the 1950s or earlier, just with a lot of nonsense. So I guess just thinking about myself as someone who I go to the gym, I go to the pool, I'm working towards pull up. What does it mean to share that space in some ways with those people? What is my ethos? Is there a left-wing weightlifting ethos? Yeah, what does that look like in contrast? So that was what I was sort of exploring through my essay. And there is a left-wing weightlifting ethos.
Well, my next question was going to be, what is the left-wing weightlifting ethos?
It's nuanced. There are a few of them. So one of them is, there's a group that are like probably a bunch of groups that consider themselves part of the swoletariat. So swole and proletariat. And I feel like this has its roots, or you can, like what the Black Panthers were training, part of it was like fitness stuff and just being ready to fight back, which I can totally understand. That's maybe one. And then another is just kind of more community oriented, but a little less preparing for battle, which probably aligns more with what you and I try to do in our open water swim group, which is to build a space where people can work out or move their bodies. There's a community aspect of it. We all know each other. We have like the chatting part is important. The consistency is important. And it's less about the goals necessarily, although some of us might have specific goals, and more about the journey, the practice of showing up for yourself every week, showing up for your community every week, and just, having it be an important part of your life.
Mm-hmm. And I think also part of that might be celebrating things that aren't aesthetics. So, like a lot of folks are in an open water swim club, not specifically ours, but just generally for mental health reasons. For example.
Yeah. I think open water swimming is actually one of the more interesting sports. There's probably like a steep learning curve or high barrier to entry in some ways, because a lot of the population were not good swimmers for a variety of different reasons. But you see like such a variety of ages and body shapes and stuff like that in open water swimming. And a lot of people are drawn to it for mental health reasons.
I also think that it being very explicitly non-competitive is important, and what makes it maybe a bit different is that, okay, sure, some members like yourself and some others who are training for half marathon or 3K or what have you, they have concrete goals that are distance-based, but it's not a race. Like the event that we're creating for ourselves is a community event and not a race.
Yeah, the events that we have set up have specifically not been races. And there are open water races, but even like VAUSA in Vancouver, I feel like there's less of an emphasis on the time aspect of it than, say, if you're running a road race or a triathlon. There will be people who are aiming to finish in a particular time, particularly with open water swimming, that distance-based stuff. A lot of ultra marathoners are maybe not actually the fastest swimmers. It's like a different skill set, and that's appealing to me. You can swim a 10K race, but you can also just choose to do a 10K swim for that distance goal. And a lot of the time we actually don't, like last summer we didn't do any like long swims. We didn't have any real distance goal swims. We accidentally swam 3 kilometers once. But,
when we got the map wrong, yes.
But we mostly had kind of like locations we wanted to swim at. And I think we mostly did around like 1,500 meters, maybe 2,000.
But it was more about going to cool places around our region, lakes and spots in the ocean, being with community. I think we called them destination swims, right? So they're just like, oh, let's go to Myrtle Rock. Let's go up to Lund, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And it was more about that experience than it is about the actual swim.
Yeah. Oh, Myrtle Rocks is so beautiful. Yeah. Divers Rock was cool too.
They were all awesome. Myrtle Rock is actually not a long swim, so we probably could do like 2 loops of it.
I think I will do 2 or 3 loops this summer as I'm training.
But there's so much cool stuff to see underwater, and seals swimming around, checking us out. It's very cool.
It was very cool. Yeah, you can see like nudibranchs, sea stars, little fishies. Oh my gosh, sea lions and river otters. But I try to.
I don't want to get too close to those. They're pretty intense.
Me neither. But yeah, and a lot of seaweed. Yeah, it's cool. The ocean just feels so alive.
You're doing an ocean swim tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. Usually Fridays. Yeah, usually Fridays. I'm on the island tomorrow.
Oh, got it. Okay, right. Usually you would be.
Yeah. There are 2 locations kind of within 15 minutes of where I live that we swim at. 50 minutes walking distance, I should be clear. Yeah.
Well, okay. So kind of in the topic of people coming to swimming as an example for mental health reasons, I had a conversation with someone on Facebook just a couple of days ago. Maybe it was yesterday. I have no sense of time. But they were commenting on a post that I made about our general approach to our business, which actually goes against a lot of money-making tactics in the fitness industry, like not using before and after photos. Anyway, so this person asked, like, hey, I'm just curious, what's wrong with before and after photos? Why don't you guys use them? Because I personally find them super motivating. So my response was something along the lines of, okay, we understand that that kind of thing is motivating for a lot of humans, but the clients that we work with don't actually have aesthetics super high on the priority list. It might be there somewhere. We all want to look and feel great. That's cool.
Yeah.
But there's things that are above that list for 90% of our clients. Bone density, living a long time, keeping up with their grandkids, whatever it is. So I think this kind of ties into some of the things you were saying in your essay. One line that you had in there was, objectively speaking, I maintain a relatively high level of physical fitness.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, however, it's unlikely I'll ever look fit. And I'm using giant air quotes.
Yeah.
At least not in the ways our culture often expects a person to. So why do you work out? And how does aesthetics factor into that, if at all?
I've always been a person in like a slightly larger body, and even that is, it's like it's complicated because in other ways I'm quite bog standard in terms of like average North American dress size or whatever. Anyway, in terms of like BMI or fitness culture in particular,
yes,
I'm not fitting a particular aesthetic, and I have received messages my whole life about how my body is wrong. But the only time I've ever fit within the North American aesthetic for how you were quote unquote supposed to look, I was quite sick. I have like a chronic gastro disorder that I didn't know about until I basically lost my appetite and I couldn't eat. It was hard to eat. I got sick when I ate. And so I lost a lot of weight, and it was very strange because I was not well, but I got a lot of positive attention from like external feedback about my body. And then, so that is something that I carry with me, just in terms of thinking about my own health and what I can expect from myself and how I need to conceive of it in a more holistic way. Because for me, if I'm pursuing a particular aesthetic, it would mean I would be ignoring my hunger cues. I wouldn't be eating what I need to maintain my activity level, really. I would probably have to track my calories, which is a person with like a history of disordered eating when I was younger. That's not gonna be great for me. Typically when people quote unquote diet, they return to their previous body size as soon as they lift that restriction. And so if I'm focusing on the aesthetic and I'm a person with a high activity level, large hunger cues, I like food a lot, that would be a losing battle, and I would be miserable, absolutely miserable. Whereas right now I'm pretty chill. Like I'm pretty pleased with myself. Yeah, I'm very active. I eat well. I get enough protein. I get enough fiber. I make a tart on the weekend. I enjoy my life. And so in terms of like health and wellness for me, I'm where I need to be, really. So yeah, it's been interesting because as soon as I started weightlifting a little bit more, like with more consistency, I did start building some muscle. And so that has been an interesting aesthetic development because it's been cool to see my muscle and to also be like, I love deadlifting. And so that's prioritized sort of like my hamstrings. My hamstrings have gotten so developed. And so I do have this thing of like, I wish that my quads were a little, so there is a little bit of that. But for me personally, it doesn't feel, that doesn't feel oppressive. So yeah, that's as much as aesthetics factor in for me. I can tell that I've built some muscle in my shoulders and my lats and my pecs. As like a non-binary person, it's like probably a little bit more apparent for me because I had top surgery. And so I can see them now. And yeah, biceps, triceps, yada, yada. So yeah, I guess there is a little bit of that. It's nice to see muscle. It's cool. But overall, I would say aesthetics, I try to keep a lid on how much they influence any given thing I'm pursuing.
I think that's a healthy way of looking at it. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with having aesthetic goals, but I think given all of the diet culture bullshit that we've been fed over the decades, and given how a lot of people center their whole fitness journey only on aesthetics, I don't think it's sustainable. I think it's not good for mental health long term.
Particularly probably for women and people assigned female at birth. Also, you're taught to wrap up a lot of your idea of what your worth is with your aesthetics as well. And we are a culture that prioritizes youth. Like youth is beauty, right? And so even for people who are able to hit those marks younger in life, it's a losing battle, and you have to decide to value yourself more than that like visual worth aspect of it. For me also, like there's a certain point in my my teen years, because they never really aligned with what I was supposed to, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't hit those ideals. And it hit me at a certain point, like, who am I living my life for? Am I living my life so that other people think I'm attractive, or do I not actually care about that and I care about like my experience of the world? And perhaps that's selfish or self-centered, but I don't really care. So yeah,
I'm with you on this. And to your point of like, there's always some inherent aesthetic piece, right? Like if you're going to go and lift heavy on a regular basis, sure, things are going to change physically. That's just naturally what happens when you build strength and muscle, right? You've been working on deadlifts. You've been doing a bunch of pull-ups. There are just regular things that are an aesthetic component of regular training, right? Yeah. But I think looking at it as a kind of added bonus and not the reason you're training is a good way to go. And it's going to keep you in the game till you're 100. Yeah. It's also, I feel like it's important to have both consistency and flexibility, because it's inevitable that, we'll be unwell or we'll get an injury or something like that. And if you're in tune with that, and if you're not too rigid about it, you can catch it before, if you push through an injury because you're like, well, I'm going to lose my quad definition, then you end up more injured and out for longer. And mental health wise, it's hard for me to be like off for a long time. I will backfill with other activities. And I think that's something you've done a lot of too, like dealing with a shoulder injury and figuring out other things you can do to fill it in. But yeah, I do think when we're too rigid about our expectations for ourselves, it's not great in the long run. And the long run is really what we should be thinking about. 100%. That's actually the reason I haven't been wearing my swim watch for the past while, like probably 6 months at least, because I don't want to be driven by some relatively arbitrary numbers goal. What I'm going by right now is my shoulder saying, yeah, you're good. You're done. You got to get out of the pool. And I don't want to be like, oh, but I'm so close to a round number, and then I do a couple extra laps or whatever. So I hear you on that. Also, like, I also don't lift for aesthetic reasons. Most of it is mental health. It's really great for anxiety, which I have, which I'm on long-term meds for. It's good for overall like injury prevention so that we're better swimmers and we can be out there in the beautiful lakes and oceans all summer. But I'm not going to complain about looking jacked at the end of the day. I like it.
Yeah, it is cool.
But that's not the reason I'm training though.
No. That was another thing from MAHA. So I have used exercise to basically manage depression for a really long time. And it's a useful tool. However, balancing it with medication is also super key. And I think they're very anti RFK Jr. and for sure, like very anti SSRI and no, I don't think that's
it's not one or the other. It's a tool, right?
Yeah, it's a tool. So approaching it all as tools.
Yeah. There's a really interesting book called Deconstructing the Fitness Industrial Complex. It's by 3 editors, and there's a whole bunch of essays in there. One of the editors, Lawrence Koval, wrote this line about, like, the fitness industrial complex is basically like big fitness, right? Gyms, commercial messages that we get about fitness, diet culture, etc. One of the editors was writing that one of the ways that the fitness industrial complex maintains the power that it has is by convincing people that gyms and fitness spaces are inherently apolitical, and that they're like completely separate from our, quote, normal lives outside the gym, right? And really what's going on in there is exactly what we've been talking about. And you mentioned earlier the patriarchy and all the kind of white supremacist systems are at play here when we're being told what our bodies are supposed to look like.
Yeah.
It's actually very white coded. It's very male coded.
Yeah.
It's not inclusive at all.
Yeah. In my experience with commercial, like, so I go to the rec center gym, and that's very intentional. And there have been times when I've gone to other spots. I went to a place that was like very meathead oriented in Vancouver, like powerlifters and stuff like that. But commercial gyms, I have met with like a personal trainer as part of the intake process for a commercial gym. I mean, the last time I went, they started from a place of like, what's wrong with your body? What do you want to change? How much weight do you want to lose?
That's a great point. That's the immediate assumption, right?
Yeah. You know, even when I played competitive hockey and we did conditioning in the gym. And yeah, I was a teen, and the focus for me was on, at that time, it was on like weight loss. And looking back, knowing now what I can do, and if I have the opportunity to do progressive overload, and I'm actually quite strong, and I played defense, and it did not make any sense to have my trainer pushing me to lose 5 pounds instead of focusing on fueling properly and getting strong, because I was already knocking kids over. You know, so I like going to the rec center gym. I like the culture. I like it when there's a bunch of different kinds of people there with lots of different goals. The vibe of a commercial gym has never been, I've never found it super, super welcoming. Powerlifting gym was super fun. I was not powerlifting or doing anything adjacent, but it was...
It's a good vibe in general.
Yeah, it's a good vibe. When people are focused on... When they're dialed in and on meeting their own goals, instead of like prioritizing aesthetics, it's just tends to be more warm and welcoming to newbies or wherever people are. I don't know. I think that if you're deadlifting 400, you remember what it was like to build up to 200, and you're happy to like congratulate someone on getting there. Yeah, there's less of an element of like competition, and yeah,
there's a lot of self-competition, but that's different. It's like support between humans and competition with yourself.
Yes. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I have my own personal...
Oh, I'm well aware. Speaking of pull-ups, you got to tell our listeners about this pull-up thing. So how the hell did you get the idea in the first place that you wanted to do a full unassisted pull-up?
I was trying to remember, and I don't remember exactly. Historically, my personality type, I am the type of person who wants to do things that feel hard or like borderline impossible. So I think that that is what it's cool to see people doing pull-ups. Like pull-ups are cool. Like seeing someone like lift their entire body weight. A lot of calisthenics stuff is really interesting to see. Like it's something I've always been god awful at. I've never been able to do the monkey bars or like even a cartwheel. I chose that goal because I knew it was going to be hard and it was going to feel good to do it. Eventually.
Was there an aspect of like proving something?
Oh, probably. I mean, they're just like, I don't know. Generally, historically, but I'm not proving, not to anyone else, like proving it, to myself.
I feel like there's a lot of that in the vegan world, right? It's like we have to prove that people who don't eat animal products can do A, B, and C or whatever. It's just kind of like this extra layer on top of doing the thing that we've set out to do.
Yeah. So one thing I did do was like, it's when you're working towards a goal that's very hard for you, when I'm working towards a goal that's very hard for me, it's very useful to see other people who have like made that journey. And so I was looking on like Instagram and other places for other people's like road to their first pull up. And consistently I was seeing people in like much smaller bodies than mine. And so one thing I did decide to do, not to say that there's no one, I send you anytime I see someone on Instagram.
I know, it's so great.
But I decided that I would like throw my own journey kind of into that pool of what would show up in people's like Discover feeds and stuff, because I do think it's important to have some representation. I don't know what it's like in real life. I just know kind of what I have available online. So, but there wasn't a ton.
So part of it was also documenting your own 10-month journey and sharing the training that you're doing and the progressions and the frustration, which is a completely natural part of the process.
Yeah. And you had told me that it's normal for it to take about 14 months with consistent training. So
you did it faster.
Yeah. I had set a goal that I wanted to do it by the end of the year. I think I started in March and 10 months. I did it in December. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. I should say, like, I got sick in December and I got sick again. I don't know. I had both the flu and COVID this past winter. So I like briefly lost the ability to, it was so frustrating. I was like nailing them really consistently and then they went away for like 3 weeks again. So,
but they're back now.
Yep. They're back now. It's not a linear journey. No, it's not a linear journey.
No, it's really not. No. If there's folks listening who are like, ooh, I'm intrigued, maybe I should work toward a pull-up.
You should.
First of all, I would like to say, if you're not on a specific pull-up training program, get on one, because no one walks up to a pull-up bar and just does a pull-up out of nowhere.
No, very few people do. Maybe children.
Yeah. Well, maybe a few.
Yeah.
6-year-olds.
Or, if you're maybe someone who's like who swims on a competitive team and does some weightlifting that involves like lat pull downs and stuff, maybe, but it's a very small percentage of the population.
Very small. Yeah. What would you tell someone who's intrigued and like, maybe I should start training for a pull-up?
So you helped me develop a pull-up program that we scaled as time went on, because I don't know what it's like to be in a thinner body. I only know what it's like to be in my body. So I have seen people in a smaller body go from really not very strong negatives to like getting their first pull-up a lot fat. Like I was hanging out, I could do a 1 minute negative if I wanted to, and still not getting a pull-up. So I had to start doing weighted negatives. So we did scale my program as time went on. Yeah. And the goal proved slightly more elusive than I would have hoped.
Even though you ended up doing it faster, just saying.
Getting an elevated doorway pull-up bar, or getting an elevated bar where I can't do a full hollow hold like from the bottom of my range, but it certainly made it easier. I started with like a regular doorway bar, and I'm 5'9", and you basically have to have your knees bent or be in this like weird banana position. Not comfortable. So yeah, invest in like a good bar and have it be positioned well. Unless you're going to the gym at least 3 times a week. And actually, even if you are, it's good to have one at home. So my approach, because I max out my muscles in any given gym set faster than I will like over the course of a day. So I approached it in like I have a number of things I like to do over the course of the day. And maybe I do some of them in a cluster, but I'm not doing 3x10, whatever personally. I'm doing like a bar pull, a couple chin-ups in the morning, and then in the mid morning, like maybe one more, and then doing some band assisted ones, and then and I have a variety of different exercises that I do. I train now 3 times a week. I started out at like 5 or 6 times a week, which is maybe too much, but also I was using really heavy bands and it was different at that point, I would say. But I'd say I have pretty good like targeted exercises where I'm using enough of my muscle capacity that I'm doing it 3 times a week.
That makes sense. I think it does make a big difference actually to have a home station where you can do pull-ups. One of our clients just got like a freestanding one with a captain's chair thing and a pull-up bar. It doesn't really matter what it is. The point is he can go and do 2 pull-ups and then go and work for an hour if he's doing a work at home day. And then an hour later, he'll do like a bar hang for 15 seconds or whatever. And then he'll keep working and then he'll go back. I think there's value to that if you're learning something that is essentially a 1 rep max.
Yeah. At the beginning, it's really a 1 rep max. Yeah. I'm almost at 2 now.
You're pretty close. It was pretty close the other day when we were at the gym.
Yeah. I think I've gotten to like my eyes. So
Yeah. you have like the distance of your head.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I guess just consistency. And I would really actually recommend working with a trainer to develop a plan. Someone like you has worked with so many clients. And I think setting reasonable expectations also is like so useful, because if you Google like pull-up program, get my first pull-up, they're often 12-week programs.
Yeah, that's insane. I've never seen in 15 years of training people, no one has ever done a pull-up in 12 weeks.
So online, I have seen people who are climbers do it, or like have some, you know, they're starting from a particular level. They're probably short, and
they're probably kind of already doing pull-ups as
pretty
part
light. Yeah. So yeah,
climbing to some level.
Yes, I would say, because a lot of people, when they start, hang on to the bar and discover they cannot go anywhere. So
that was me. I remember that moment. Yeah. I was 19, hanging off a bar, being like, I wonder if I can do one of these things, and moved 0 centimeters.
Yeah. And that's really common. So if that's where when is starting, then it's going to take a lot longer than 12 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on context, right? Like we've had clients who are completely new to strength training, where it takes closer to a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then folks who have been strength training, but haven't been doing specific pull-ups training or progressions.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll take a year, you know, but it's still a long-term type of thing.
Yeah. Like body proportions do factor into it as well.
For sure.
I'm not like a triangle shape, even though I'm a swimmer. So yeah, it's just, you know, I'm just going to have to be stronger.
You know, you're sending a lot of these, like you mentioned before, but I am seeing now, I don't know if it's just the Instagram algorithm now that's kind of catching on, but I'm seeing more folks in larger bodies busting out pull-ups and chin-ups, and it's very impressive.
Yeah, it does take more strength. So
it does.
Meta AI body shamed me the other day.
What?
Okay, so on Instagram now, I don't use Meta AI, but if you go to like any given reel in the comment section, at the top of the comment section, they'll like suggest a search you can do, like based on this reel you're watching.
Okay.
And I think that the search it suggested for me was like, how does body size or body composition factor into like pull up, yada yada? I was like, oh,
I think you took a screenshot of that.
Yeah, I did.
Right? I think I saw that. Yeah.
And I thought that was both rude and funny. But
rude, mostly.
I have posted a bunch of reels, and like they'll make it into people's Discover feeds, like into the Discover feeds of personal trainers or gym bros or whatever. And the vast majority of people have been like really positive and welcoming. And I've been waiting for someone to be rude about my weight, because I don't care. And I also know like I know that,
because I don't care.
But I also know like I know how strong I have to be in order to do one. So paradoxically, yeah, man, be mean.
Just bring it on.
Yeah, I know how strong I am. So it's been really cool to see other people in bigger bodies do, calisthenics and pull-ups and push-ups and stuff.
Absolutely.
I can maybe do one crappy push-up. Yeah, it's my next goal.
And swimming a marathon. No big deal.
Yeah, in some ways, don't get me wrong, I've put a lot of effort in, but swimming a marathon is like easier for me. There are a lot of things that come easier. Yeah, I think that's something people miss when pull-ups or push-ups come relatively easy to them. Like then there's this misconception that it's actually easy, that
for
if
everyone
you can't do it, then there's something wrong with you. But I also think that that's not true. For me personally, it was easier for me to get my master's than it was to do pull-up. And I'm never going to say like, oh, it's easy to get your master's. I just know that that's how the dice rolled for me in the universe. So,
but you did it anyways.
Yeah.
And you're crushing the pull-ups.
I'm trying.
Actually, you know, a lot of folks here in town have loved your Instagram videos. Even the ones where you're like, I didn't get my pull-up today. Dang it. It's so frustrating. Like totally normal, part of the process. But I think it shows a side of that whole, I don't like the word journey, but I just said process. So
yeah.
Where it's just part of the deal, right? You get COVID, you get a flu, you're not able to do a single pull up for 3 weeks and you're like, oh my God, have I lost all of my progress?
Yeah.
Like, that's just normal human thought patterns.
Yeah, it is normal. And I feel like the algorithm shows you like someone getting their first pull up and then, you know, stacking them on after that. But I think the reality is that it's not super linear, especially if it's your 1 rep max, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be able to get your 1 rep max, and then you're not going to be able to get that every day until it's no longer your 1 rep max.
Well, yeah, getting from 1 pull up to 2 is doubling your 1 rep max.
Yeah.
So you deadlift 200 pounds one day. Are you going to do 400 the next day?
That's a good perspective. I hadn't actually even thought about it like that. But yeah, it's going back to just sort of like the vanity aspect of it. In the community gym, my like lat pull down at this point is like pretty hefty, and I don't have to change it when some beefy guy has to do the lat pull down before
Isn't that
me.
a nice feeling?
Yeah, it is a nice feeling.
Where do you think all of this is leading on a greater scale? Like, do you think all these folks that we're seeing on Instagram sharing their pull-up progress, folks in larger bodies especially, like, is this moving the needle in the fitness industry or in what we expect of people? Like, what's going to happen in the strength world because of all of this?
I see it too in like yoga and stuff like that. I think it's just what the algorithm knows that I'm interested in, I think. But at the same time, the other current of it that I think that I don't even know how to push back against it other than to just like show up and present an alternative. But there's so much of a focus on the aesthetic that it's actually like paradoxically having like a really negative impact on people's actual sort of long-term health. So there's been an uptick in people like in steroid and the idea of having like a lot of muscle mass and particularly like lean on a super lean frame. Bodybuilding's been around like forever, but I think that anyone who is in bodybuilding in a serious way will also say like this has long-term negative effects on your health.
It's not a health practice.
No, it's not a health practice, but it's become insidious in fitness culture in a way. And there are certain things that are evidence-based and positive actually overall, like taking creatine. That's, it's good unless you have a kidney issue, in which case avoid. But broadly speaking, and like it's being studied right now, like maybe it might also have cognitive benefits. So there's stuff like that. There's this intense emphasis on protein that I think is a little bit overblown. No
I
one
agree.
needs like a protein coffee from Tim Hortons, for example.
Hey, I saw protein pretzels the other day. I'm like, dude, do we need, like, it's a weird balance because in the vegan world specifically, I think people don't talk about protein enough, which is a bit of a cliche. But all of the big name vegan folks who have like millions of Instagram followers are not people who strength train.
Yeah.
And so they're not speaking to people who require increased protein. And they're also not speaking to older folks who also need more protein. So like on the one hand, yes, protein is important. We need it. But on the other hand, do we need protein pretzels?
No. Yeah, exactly. And so protein is something I pay close attention to because I'm active and because I can actually see like a direct relationship between how much I'm taking in and like what my recovery time is like, or what my strength is like. So I just think it's nuance. Is having muscle mass good? Yes. Do you need to look like a Hollywood actor who's getting ready for a superhero movie? Probably not.
And is on steroids and has a full-time personal chef and a full-time personal trainer.
Yeah. So that's where I think it's insidious. And I think that it factors into like personal trainer kind of stuff too. Like people are building their businesses based on what they look like. And if someone is building a business positively and it's not based on what they don't look aesthetically like, anyway, so why do I do it? Why do I show up? I think the more people who are showing like an alternative version of what fitness culture might look like, the better. Yeah, I also don't think it's the be all end all of it. It shouldn't be the be all end all of everything. You should have other hobbies.
Yes.
You should be able to go to a birthday party and eat birthday cake, like things of that nature. Yeah. If you are not able to go out to a restaurant once a month to celebrate your friend's birthday or, whatever, because you need to be eating like your lean protein and your green vegetable and if there's no flexibility, like that to me is not great.
No.
If you have dietary restrictions beyond that, ignore that message. That message is not for you.
Of course.
But I just mean I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of rigidity and there's a lot of focus on the aesthetic. And I think that actually long-term it's detrimental to health and wellness.
I feel like a certain amount of focus on aesthetics that go against the grain might be helpful.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I'm cis female and I don't like a lot of things about the messages that are aimed at said females, right? Mm-hmm. I like looking like I can deadlift 12 cars and I don't want to take up less space.
Yeah.
And this awesome Instagram post I saw Molly Galbraith of Girls Gone Strong post recently inspired me to post a photo of my giant freaking lats.
Oh, yeah.
She's saying like, I have no interest in being called skinny. If you're going to comment on my physique, here's a list of terms you can use. And it was like jacked, formidable, stacked, swole, right? And so I'm kind of on that page, which still, I mean, look, it kind of feels like we're in 1956 sometimes.
Yeah.
That still goes against the supposed ideal of what a cis woman is supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's true. And there actually, along with the uptick of right-wing backlash, there has been some pressure for women to quote unquote debulk or lessen their muscle mass in favor of a quote unquote Pilates body, which
God, don't even get me started.
Is that? But not to knock Pilates or what, do we like move your body in the ways that work for you? But yeah, I think that we should all be really, really skeptical about that.
Yes.
Not to return to the like being able to defend oneself question, but actually that does factor into it for me. Like, why would I want to shrink myself? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't make any sense, especially not in a world where things are not going in a great direction all the time.
Exactly. I've heard people use terms like under-muscled, right? And like as a general, kind of like how BMI is used on a population level. Is the Canadian population under-muscled? And the answer is yes.
Yeah. And okay, so when it comes to this kind of stuff, the other thing I would add is like personally, part of the reason why I'm able to have so much consistency and be pretty active is because I have a steady full-time job. And for me, that means 4 days a week. Like I'm relatively comfortable. I'm not rolling in cash, but I am middle class. And when I was younger, that wasn't the case. I was cobbling together like a bunch of part-time jobs. So I went to school. And so you can't have the same sort of consistent schedule when you have obligations elsewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of the things when we're talking on a population level, it's not like humans are all that different than they were in 1910 or 1920 or whatever. It's hard to walk or bike or get the bus places. Most people drive. Mm-hmm. Most of our jobs are more sedentary now than they were before. So yeah, you have to be set up in such a way that you can buy good food at the grocery store or get a CSA box from a farm. And if your job isn't physical, or if you can't walk to work or bike to work or take the bus to work, taking the bus just means you are getting more steps in actually because you walk to bus stops and stuff, then you have to consciously choose to go to the gym, which is, I love the gym, don't get me wrong, but evolutionarily, it's sort of a weird thing. Like, oh yeah, I sit all day and then I walk to the gym and I lift my weights. I'm not like building a stone wall or something. So I think that, yeah, when we talk on a population level, it's less about like, we should be focusing less exactly on what is causing people to be under-muscled.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
The systemic society level, organizational level context has to change a lot.
Yeah. More socialism, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Pretty much.
It's an investment in public infrastructure and lessening income inequality and, access to good food. In fact, like in North America, like a totally different approach to how we conceive of the value of food and the value of farming and stuff like that. Yeah.
And, folks who are going to a food bank because they don't have any other options are not sitting there tracking their macros generally and aiming for 95 grams of protein a day.
it's harder to get the amount of protein. It's easier to have carbs in that kind of scenario. And in general, like actually the more time pressed you are, the harder it is to build in protein and the easier it is to rely on carbs that are typically quicker to come together.
Yeah.
And I have heard people say like, oh, well, beans are cheap. I make dry beans myself at home in a slow cooker and I work from home. So I can hear the slow cooker bubbling all day. You know, when I worked 2 or 3 part-time jobs and went to school, was I setting the slow cooker up to bubble away without me? No, I was not. And did I have the foresight the night before to do it? Or was I just eating a bowl of cereal before bed? Yeah. So I don't know.
That's a good point. It's something that comes up a lot in not just diet culture, but also veganism. So a lot of our listeners have heard this, you know, like it is a privilege to be able to choose the foods that we're putting on the table and the foods that we're eating when we're outside the house. Those things are not, unfortunately, inherent. I think they should be.
Yeah.
I think it's a human right. But yeah, to your point of access and the whole system being skewed toward ableism and money, that's a problem for population health.
Yeah, it is a problem for population health. Yeah. Even just thinking about, I lived in New York once and, like food desert-y type situation. Yeah, you have to adapt your diet based on what's available. If you don't have the ability to like go elsewhere or bulk buy in some kind of quantity online, things of that nature. We're lucky where we live that we do have access to a wealth of options if you have money to pursue those options.
Yeah.
But the closest grocery store to me is No Frills. I can't eat gluten and its vegetarian and gluten-free options are not great. So I like walking. I like biking. We have a bike trailer. We don't have a car. So we can grocery shop kind of wherever it's fine. But if someone who lives in my neighborhood who has mobility issues and is just relying on the No Frills, their diet's being shaped by the No Frills. So
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, is there anything you want to leave our listeners with? I mean, we could do like 14 more podcast episodes.
I think that it's great to choose a goal that feels impossible and then just do it anyway and give yourself like a long lead time to do it. But yeah, do a pull-up.
Do a pull-up, folks. You heard Andrea.
I'm 41 and there are a lot of things I couldn't do as a kid. And I think as a kid, I thought like, oh, I'll never do that. And it might be harder for you than like 80% of the population. You can still choose to do it. Anyway, I don't know.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me. Thanks for coming on the show. I'll see you in like 2 days at the pool. Yeah. But it was great to chat.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Andrea, thanks so much for the conversation. To connect with Andrea, access our show notes at nobullshitvegan.com/226. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to the No Bullshit Vegan podcast at nobullshitvegan.com.